एक ही सवाल।
भारत के नंबर 1 हार्पिक से बेटर कौन है?
हार्पिक से बेटर कोई निकला तो संन्यास ले लूंगा। तो अब आप ही बताइए साइंटिस्ट साहब।
सॉरी अक्षय, ये हार्पिक से बेटर है।
संन्यास।
Jokes apart, what am I talking about? Well, I've been working on a transparent coating called Health Plus, and it has antimicrobial properties, anti-mold properties. It's hydrophobic, meaning it's stain-proof. It's also self-cleaning, which reduces maintenance costs. It breaks down odor and pollutants, keeping your house smelling fresh. It's also scratch-resistant, and on top of that, it has no harmful chemicals, meaning it's completely safe for children and pets. But let's take a look at some of the applications. So, poor sanitation is linked to the spread of diseases such as diarrhea, cholera, hepatitis, and many more. The WHO reports that diarrhea alone kills around 525,000 children under the age of 5 each year, and all of these deaths are preventable by maintaining proper hygiene and sanitation. Again, according to WHO, hundreds of millions of patients are affected by health-associated infections worldwide each year. These infections are all often the result of inadequate sanitation, hygiene, or infection control practices in healthcare setting. And honestly, we can't really blame them because the maintenance costs would be way too high for places like a hospital or a public toilet, especially for developing countries, which makes it highly unlikely it's ever gonna happen in the near future. But my product can help change that. It reduces the maintenance costs because all you need to do is clean the surface and then apply the paint. It can be applied to various surfaces, for example, a hospital wall or the public restrooms or even your own house, helping maintain hygiene and reducing maintenance costs. So let's take a look at how it actually works. So for the antimicrobial properties, I used 3 ingredients: zinc oxide, titanium dioxide, and chitosan. Let's break it down one by one. First of all, zinc oxide, when exposed to UV light, generate ROS or reactive oxidative species like hydrogen peroxide or hydroxyl radicals. These ROS attack the microbial cells, damaging the protein structures and DNA, which can eventually lead to the cell's death. On top of that, the zinc nanoparticles can infiltrate microbial cells, disrupting enzymatic functions and increasing membrane permeability, which means that it can cause the cell to leak and ultimately die. The sharp edges of the zinc particles can also do some physical damage to the cells, causing the cell membrane to be damaged and essentially leaking out the components of the cell. Next up, titanium dioxide also releases ROS, which, as I explained before, basically kills the cell. These ROS also helps in the breakdown of all organic matter, which means that our surface becomes self-cleaning because it continually breaks down all of the organic matter that comes in contact with it. It also helps break down the pollutants and odor particles in the air, helping you breathe better. Last but not the least, chitosan has a positive charge which attracts the negatively charged microbial cell walls to it, allowing chitosan to penetrate the cell. And once inside, it can make the cell membrane more permeable, leading the cell to leak. It can also bind to the biomolecules like DNA or protein or even enzymes, causing them to not function properly, which will lead to the cell's death eventually. Now, these 3 ingredients are commonly used in other antimicrobial paints, but what makes Health Plus special is that we use all 3 of them together because it creates a synergetic effect. For example, it generates a lot more ROS than it would naturally because titanium dioxide and zinc oxide both work together to produce the ROS. Then both of these compounds have ions which attack the cell microbe and disrupt the function. On top of that, the chitosan then binds to the biomolecules, which are then destroyed by the ions. And if all of this wasn't enough, then on top of that, my paint also uses mineral oil, which is hydrophobic, which means that it'll prevent stains from any polar substance like water or anything that dissolves in water. It also helps in the self-cleaning process, since any beads of condensation that form on the wall just slip and capture the dust particles along with them as they fall. So as you can see here, we're using an inoculation loop which I have sterilized using alcohol to pick up some of the bacteria from my product and place it directly onto some LB agar medium. My technique's not really good, but I'm learning. Now we use another inoculation loop which again has been sterilized to pick up the bacteria from the normal plaster, and we place it directly onto the LB agar media. Ignore the hole, I kind of ran out of LB agar, so this will have to do. We'll come back after 2 days to check back on the result. Honestly, I don't think the previous test was enough, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some bacteria from a previously used LB agar media, as you can see here, and I'm going to place it directly on to my product using an inoculation loop. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the normal sheet of paper. Now we'll check on them after a week and we'll look at the results and let's see if my product does actually kill the bacteria. It's been a week since I put the bacteria in the LB agar dish, and as you can see, there's a lot of growth on the LB agar dish, which had bacteria from the normal plastic. And now, even though there's some growth on the LB agar with my product, that's probably due to contamination, because you can see that most of them are not exactly concentrated in a particular area like this one. So you can see the long strings, so that's because of the marks from the inoculation loop. That means the bacteria were concentrated there, but here you cannot see that pattern, so that means it was probably contaminated from normal bacteria. And it's pretty hard to actually prevent growth in an LB agar because, well, bacteria are everywhere. And that is all for the video. Let me know if you enjoyed it. Thank you.